Last week I headed over to London and it was the perfect trip to test out some active noise cancelling earbuds. These are the SoundPEATS Air3 Pros. Now the new Air3 Pros here, they do have active noise cancelling up to 35 decibels. They support the aptX adaptive codec and they use 12mm drivers. You have a runtime of up to 6 hours from the earbuds and an additional, well in total, 21 hours with these. And I'll let you know exactly what they sound like, the pros and the cons now of my more than a week now testing out the Air3 Pros. Now included with the Air3 Pros, we have a Type-C to Type-A cable, so just use a USB charger that you do have. It only needs 1 amp, and the charge time is approximately 2 hours for the case and the earbuds within it. They take around about an hour. Now we do get 2 small-sized and 2 large-size silicon tips, and then our instruction leaflet right here. Now, this is important to take a look at because it does go over things like the touch controls, which of course with every single brand is slightly different. Now, what is missing here with the touch controls is you'll see that there is no way to go back to previous tracks. So you can skip to the next track, but you can't go back. And that's probably not an issue for most people, but you can see the ANC controls are there too, so you just need to simply tap and hold to cycle through the ANC on, the pass-through mode, and then the normal mode with it. Looking at the weights, the earbuds are very light. They're only 4 grams each, and your total travel carry weight is just 37 grams, so very lightweight. The case quality is not bad. They have gone with a matte style plastic finish with a little bit of shiny, glossy plastics you can see the inside. And this is because there's a status LED here. So when you do open it, it will come on. So green lets you know your battery life. It goes down to yellow and then in red when you need to charge it. So they do fit in there nice and snug. And you'll see that there really is no room around where these tips are for users of, say, you're using your own foam tips, then you're probably going to be out of luck to actually get them to fit in. So the magnets will hold them in place. We've got the pogo port connecting tips right down inside there, clearly labeled left and right. And when they sit in there, they don't rattle. And that's one of the things I don't like about some of the brands I review, that they tend to rattle around. They're a little bit noisy, rattle in your pocket. Doesn't happen here. Now that's of course got a magnet keeping that lid closed, and it does sit there nice and flush, and again, no rattling from it. It does say SoundPEATS at the top here, a little bit hard to see. At the back, we have our reset button for the pairing, so very easy to reset it, which is good if you're going to swap over to another device, and they are running off Bluetooth 5.2. They have a runtime of 21 hours with the case and 6 from the earbuds themselves, but I do find with the ANC on that I'm looking at just under 5 hours. It's more like 4.5 hours. Type-C port here, so it won't sit up like so with this case. It's going to always fall down, but that makes sense because where they've placed the Type-C port anyway, you're going to be lying down flat. The only thing about the case is it does tend to show a few smudges and fingerprints. I've been using these now for a week, and it's a bit of a lint trap here, this edge. If you've got it in your pocket, it tends to full of dust. So just minor little nitpicky things there with it. So we have these stem style with these, and I do find it helps the fit, and because they're so lightweight, only 4 grams each, that when I put these in, I've got a good seal with the medium tips that I really don't feel like they're going to go anywhere, and I kind of forget I'm wearing them at times. There is a filter just inside here, so that should hopefully not get really blocked up or anything like that with earwax later on, which can, of course, happen. So they've got a bit of an oval design to them. The silicon tips so far now, after me using these pretty much non-stop, I've been traveling with them too as well when I went to London just recently, and I have not had any issues of the silicon on these softening right up and losing its structure or anything like that. No, that's good. So you can see the charging contact points right there for in the case that I just showed you before. There is a microphone here on this side. We've got the other mic there because these do have, of course, active noise cancellation with them. And this area, this part here is the capacitive touch controls. Now, I often repeat this, and again, it's kind of happening with these two as well, is the touch controls can be a little bit non-responsive, a little bit hit and miss. Sometimes I tap it and there is a noticeable delay, like a bit of lag before it actually registers, and then it will drop the volume down. So the left is to drop it down, tap just once. On the right, drops it down again, and then you've got your triple taps, your tap and hold to go through the ANC modes. It's just sometimes I do find myself repeating it. That's about the only annoying thing with them. Now, there aren't really any sharp edges. It looks like there could be, and if you use your fingernail there, you can feel a little bit of an edge there to the plastics. But no, it's not scratchy, and as mentioned, they're very comfortable and very lightweight. Overall, I do like the design of these. So SoundPEATS do have an app, and it looks like they are supported. However, I haven't actually been able to use it properly. It'll keep coming up with an error. It'll time out. The app will crash. It does state this, that I don't have a firmware version. Well, it's too low actually to use the app temporarily. And when it looks like it is going to work, well, there we go, network unavailable, even though I am connected up. And no, I'm not able to get into that. And I think it's probably just going to, yeah, it's locked up on me. Other times I've gone into the app, it'll look like it's going to work, that I can go through an equalizer, I can adjust the ANC on, go into the gaming mode, and even an equalizer, but nothing actually pulls through and works on them. So at the time of me posting this video, it does look like SoundPEATS need to fix the application, or at least the support for the Air 3 Pros. The week that I have been listening to these, I'm pleased with the sound signature. I think the tune that they do have out of the box, SoundPEATS, is good. So, of course, using a flat equalizer here, just to get an idea of how they've tuned them, it's clear to my ears that they have increased and boosted up the lows a little bit. But unlike some other brands, and especially some cheaper models, they haven't gone overboard with the lows. It still pumps out some very crisp, nice punchy bass. The 12mm drivers, I do think, are definitely helping with that. And the only area really that I could criticize these, I think, is the vocals. The vocals could be a little better on these, but it's nothing that I couldn't really fix without going in there and tweaking with my equalizer. With my favorite sound app here, Power Amp, I can get these to sound pretty good. Now, the highs have some detail, maybe not the most detailed and crisp that I have heard, and the volume, very good. You can push them loud. They're not the loudest out there, but the good thing is the lows don't start to clip. They're not going to distort or interfere with the mid. So all up, I think a good tune here from SoundPEATS with the Air 3 Pros. And using these earbuds for streaming services like Netflix right now, not a problem. It's in time perfectly. I can't really see any issues here. And I am using their gaming mode. So the chipset, which is the QCC3046, does have that gaming mode. You triple tap the left earbud to turn it on. I think it's helping with that. But in games, I've noticed a tiny fraction of a second of a delay. It's not quite perfect for games, but for Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, it's not going to be an issue.
Microphone sample now of SoundPEATS Air 3 Pros. So you will hear this static coming through, and it should actually be removed by the noise cancellation, but some of it's coming through now. It's a fan that I do have on here. Now, I am able to be heard clearly when using these for handling voice calls, but I wouldn't go as far to say that the Air 3 Pros are the best I've heard. I'd rate these as average. I've heard better. I've certainly heard a lot worse.
These Air 3 Pros are very quick to connect. So as soon as you lift that lid up, that's it. They're already in the process and connected, done. And the fit of these, great. Because of the stem of them, as I mentioned before, their weight too, being just 4 grams, are really comfortable. So very easy to fit in. I can just place them into my ear straight away, and I don't really need to worry at all about these falling out. They're not a set of earbuds that I'm going to constantly have to do this all the time because I feel like they're going to fall out on me. No, the stem design is really one of the strengths and why a lot of people still like the stem design TDOS earbuds with these. Now, I was fortunate enough to be able to test these on a flight and in busy Bluetooth environments as well. With a lot of other people with TDOS tech, a lot of people had noise cancelling headphones on too as well. Didn't run into any connection issues, only one that was my own fault, and that's because I had another phone that I had basically on top of my other phone. Both of them had the Bluetooth on, and that did cause a momentary disconnection there where it just cut out for a second. Once I separated my two devices, the two phones away from each other, it was fine. So with people all around me with Bluetooth, all running on the 2.4 gigahertz band on the flight, I didn't have any problems at all with these, which was good. And then the ANC, they work surprisingly well. Very good, in fact. I'd have to rate these as some of the better ones I've heard, certainly in the last year or so. A lot of them can be quite hit and miss, that they're not that strong when it comes to the ANC. So SoundPEATS do claim 35 decibels reduction, and I'm actually going to believe that too, because it's been very good at reducing down. I noticed on my flight, straight away, turning on the ANC, that constant whooshing and the rumble noise of the engines and just the aircraft in general, that was completely cut right down. It doesn't block it out 100%, but it did make a massive difference that you can really zone out and just focus on your tunes there. And even being on a public train, so on the tube in London, I didn't really find these to be a problem at all to be using with ANC, that it was really good on dropping down those kind of ambient noises too as well. Not perfect, but very, very good there. And of course, a pass-through feature that does have that if you tap and hold on the left there, you cycle through, go into ANC, on ANC, then pass-through mode, sorry, and then off. So pass-through lets you hear all the announcements for your platforms, if you need to hear co-workers, if you need to hear the gate announcements for your aircraft that you're catching, whatever. It's quite good and handy for that. So really, I do think they sound great, the tune. It's, yes, a little bit of more punchy bass. They've boosted up the lows, clearly to my ears. The mids, vocals is the only area that I could really criticize with the tune on these, is that I've heard slightly better vocals on other TOS earbuds. They haven't completely overlooked either the highs. So the highs do have some detail. They're not the best, but trust me, compared to others that I've heard that are completely just non-existent in the highs, with an equalizer, I can get these to sound really quite good. So I think that SoundPEATS have got a winner here. The battery life, it really depends on, of course, the genre you're listening to. If you're using the active noise cancellation, you won't get the 6 hours that they claim. It's going to be a lot less than that. It's around about 4.5 hours you're able to get, but then you get the additional charges too out of that case. And nice, small, compact size, great weight to them. So really, the only thing that bothers me with these is the touch controls. They are quite hit and miss. Often I would want to go to the previous track and I'd have to repeat that. Even just adjusting the volume, which is a simple single tap on either side, depending on which side. So the left is volume down, right's volume up. Sometimes I'll touch it, hello. It would take a second or 2 seconds, and then it would go through, you hear the volume go up. Okay, it did work that time. And other times it wouldn't, and I'd have to repeat that. So it's very common with capacitive touch controls for this to happen, but I do hope with some firmware updates they are able to fix that. That has really been the only thing, and I do hope the firmware too updates, or should I say the application, is going to be fixed to support properly the Air 3 Pros here. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.